Now, one of the most frequent questions I get from you guys is the discussions about whether Bryan Kohberger was online after the killings. We're going to discuss that a little bit today because a former FBI agent even thinks so. I'm not quite sure myself. There's also leaked video now, I guess, on Twitter. Now, I don't believe any of the, or TikTok. I don't believe any of these leaked videos, but I'm going to show it to you anyway so you can analyze it. It's supposed to be Ethan and Zaina screaming, things like that. I don't take none of those seriously, especially after the Joseph Morris fraudulent fuckery that we've seen. But I'm going to still show you and let you see what it is. I'm telling you right now, I do not believe it. All right, so we're going to be talking about this. I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm thejbgunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started, let me say first and foremost this. Thank you to everybody that supports this channel, regardless of the method you choose, Venmo, PayPal. There ain't Cash App no more since this goofy bitch did what she did, but hey, it is what it is. We'll keep it moving. I'll get a new Cash App, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, but there's no better time to support the channel than now, so I do want to say thank you to the people that do support it, the Con Squad. You guys are special. Couldn't do it without you. If you too find my content valuable, links are down below. We're going to jump right into this, though, because this is going to be some interesting shit. By the way, while you're down there, if you like if you like to see some other content, political things like that, hit the links down there. They're also down there. But if you're a snowflake, if you're one of them motherfuckers, do not go to the other live stream channel or the political channel. It's not for you. If you still got a COVID mask on, it's not for you. All right, let's go ahead and get into this story. The chilling message is ex-FBI investigator believes Bryan Kohberger posted in the online discussion groups before his arrest with details about Idaho murders no one could have known. I don't agree with this at all, but we'll take a look at it anyway. Her name is Jennifer Koffendorfer. We've seen her a lot on television, former FBI investigator. She suggested that Bryan Kohberger joined social media discussion groups about the Idaho murders, which he probably did, to be perfectly honest. Many now believe Kohberger is the man behind the Papa Rogers Facebook and Inside Looking Reddit accounts. Those are the two accounts, the Papa Rogers Facebook account, the Inside Looking Reddit accounts. We have covered some of this on this channel. Today we're going to look a little bit deeper into it. Both accounts made chillingly accurate speculations, and the person behind them was accused of being the real killer on Facebook and Reddit. One of the moderators on the Facebook group noted that the Papa Rogers account went silent following Kohberger's arrest. And that is true, but I also want to show you guys something right here because there has been a statement regarding the outside or the Inside Looking account. Now, this is from someone that is a moderator on Reddit. So the Papa, that could be a real account. But right here, this was an email to somebody else that says, "Hi, Sleuthy. Sorry to disturb you. I'm a moderator on one of the subreddits for the Idaho murders case, and I'd like to provide some clarification about the inside looking and outside looking users. This has, quite frankly, turned into a ridiculous online witch hunt that we as a subreddit are trying our best to deal with. The former deleted their account in the last 48 hours. It was not taken down, and it was not suspended by Reddit, but by the user themselves. As for the latter, he was posted since Bryan Kohberger's arrest. Therefore, I can say with almost 100% certainty that neither of the users are Bryan Kohberger. If you choose to post this, I'd like to remain anonymous. Thank you." So I wanted to say that before we even got into this, because the Inside Looking account is one of the main ones, that, and of course the Papa Rogers, which is really interesting because the Papa Rogers could be some sort of shout out to Elliot Rodger. It's probably not the case since Roger and Rogers are two different names, obviously. But when it comes to the inside or the outside looking or inside looking account, it seems to me like a moderator for that subreddit has debunked it. Now, you can believe that, not believe it, but let's take a look a little bit more into the article. Former FBI investigator has suggested that Bryan Kohberger, who was accused of the Idaho slayings, joined online discussion groups discussing the killings. Koffendorfer said that she had been following the comments of a Facebook user with the handle Papa Rogers, who, along with a Redditor with the handle Inside Looking, made chilling speculations about the murder that turned out to be true. In an archive about the two online personas who frequented discussions about the brutal slayings, both users accurately pointed out the timeline of the killings and the fact that the police found a knife sheath all before the details were publicly revealed. I don't know if that's that big. I mean, I guess it could be, right? Both users also appeared to repeatedly insist that their speculations were accurate and that both were accused of being the real-life killer in the respective groups. Koffendorfer appeared to side with those who believed that. At least one of the accounts belonged to Kohberger, who has maintained his innocence, of course. He drove his own car, carried the phone, and didn't clip in his sheath tight enough, so I do believe there could be a digital trail, she wrote in a tweet. He was a hot mess. Intelligence with no common sense equals a criminal bound to be caught. Those are her words. Okay? The scrutiny into the online discussion groups comes as Kohberger was denied bail while prosecutors revealed that his DNA was found. Okay, so here she goes. Right here, she says, drove his car away. I just read all of that. I just read that portion right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and take a look at some of these posts. This is from the Inside Looking account. And this was, I believe, on Reddit. Now, I want to say something about the Daily Mail, and this is why I don't take this seriously. Or Koppendorfer, or whatever the fuck her name is, right? It says right here, one juror commented, dude is left solving his own crime, psycho. Anyway, some have pointed out that the profile picture for Inside Looking features a person dressed in all black, wearing gloves with a headlamp. Clearly, you see right now that's not the case, but we'll get to that here in just a minute because it could have been in the past. Speculation. This is what they believe Bryan wrote. Killer parked behind the house, approached property through tree line, entered sliding door and left it open. Committed murders and exited sliding door. Now, all of that seems to be true. One knife, according to the coroner's statement. Time of murder, approximately 3:20 to 3:40 a.m. Now, we know now that's not the case at all. It was 4 o'clock to 4:20. According to the car fleeing the scene and on camera on Highway 8, approximately 3:45 a.m. Right off the jump, that's not true. Vehicle left skid marks upon exit. Please see photos below for more information. And then they're saying, dude is solving his own crime, a psycho. I'm sorry. You clearly see that, to me, is not accurate. So people keep saying that these guys keep being accurate. Yes, everybody had speculations about how he entered the house. There's nothing he said there. Nothing he said there at all in that message that was anything different than many of us said the entire time. I'm just being perfectly honest with you. Right here, goddammit, Bobby says, well, I guess I should better rephrase that. You seem to have strong confidence in your, quote, speculations. He goes on to say, I keep my speculations short. The pictures of neighbors' home indicated it would make sense for their camera to be pointed at their driveway with 4+ cars in the street. Dwellers want to protect their property. I mean, there's nothing there, right? And of course, the Redditors are like, okay, you seem to have a lot of info and speculation. There's nothing here yet. Take a look right here. Moscow murders. Now this, I believe, is this 4chan or is this Reddit? He says, let's talk about after the murders. He says, I know there's been a ton of speculation and theories leading up to the murders, what happened during, even how the killer exited. But I want to hear everyone's thoughts on what he or she did in the immediate hours following the murders and what this person has been doing in the weeks since. Do you think they immediately went home? Did they drive or walk home? Have they been back to the area, specifically near the house acting casual, following the media storm? Now the dude they think is Bryan said, rush of adrenaline, very excited. And then he goes on to say speculation, the Elantra is connected. Now let me ask you, why in the fuck, if this was really Bryan, would he say that? Said law enforcement knew and searched for his car since day one. Owner has not come forward. Anonymous reports of white car being perp immediately following the homicides. I mean, yes, he used the word perp, but once again, I'm just saying these aren't that specific. This isn't shit we didn't hear prior to all of this, right? Said, Case Baby here says, this was the original Reddit profile image that Inside Looking had up. Look closely at what he's wearing. All black, gloves, and a headlamp. Flash on phone for additional lighting. I wonder when or where this was taken. Guys, I understand you think that's creepy, but I'm a hiker. That's nothing. A headlamp, flashlight. The image is all black. It's all dark. It's just art. I don't see nothing here, to be perfectly honest. A similar incident occurred with the Facebook user Papa Rogers, a member of the University of Idaho Murders Case Discussion Group. In one post of the group flagged by Koffendorfer, Rogers wrote, of the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent with the large blade knife. This leads me to believe that they found the sheath. I don't understand why that guess makes him a murderer. So Koffendorfer says, I followed Papa Roger comments with intrigue. This comment was of particular interest after the release of the PCA. The comments just seemed to hit home. Here's what he said. Of the evidence released, the murder weapon has to be considered. So, well, we just read that. It was accurate. Papa Roger here says, I'm only responding to you. Why would you even bring up the killer, what the killer thought? Odd. Now, remember, we're just going to take a look at some of these things. Papa Roger, Dustin said, Papa Roger, sorry I trashed your stupid sheath theory, and you couldn't take it. So Papa Roger, and any other brainbuster theories? Maybe they found a receipt laying in the kitchen for the knife. You see how they do it? And then Papa Roger said, why are you angry? And then Dustin responded, why do you communicate like a serial killer? Now here they said he was raised from the group. He was removed from the group. Christine Cameron says, admin here. No, Papa Roger was never a mod or admin in this group. He was on here and argued, by the way, we'll get to that here in just a second. He was on here and argued incessantly with people and said some really creepy stuff and posted similar questions to Bryan's crime questions. We removed Papa Rogers at 7:10, the evening before Bryan's arrest. He created a group page and had 6 people in it. No one ever heard from Papa Rogers since the arrest. It's actually not true, and I'll show you. I mean, the hasn't heard from him since the arrest part is true, but we'll go ahead and take some look at some things here. We'll take some look at some things, but I also want to lead you here because I want to show you guys something because many of us have talked about the podcast, T-Rev 757's podcast, right? I want you to listen to this right here. And I do believe he called into this podcast. I don't believe necessarily he was the 2 people that we're talking about currently with the Facebook or the Reddit. Maybe the Facebook because Papa, whatever the fuck, he hasn't posted again. But let's take a look at this right here. Let's just take a listen. This is fucking brilliant.
Yes, I have court-appointed counsel. Yes, I have court-appointed counsel.
I live in a college town, and I've worked with probably at least 10 Sigma Chi members. And, you know, the one thing that every single one of them I feel like has asked me is, if you were going to kill somebody, how would you get away with it? Yeah.
Hey there, to those of you interested in hearing this report.
I don't know about the
I just want to let you know that I'm a relative of someone inside the investigation into the quadruple homicide in Idaho. They think a man came into the room after doing what they did on the 2nd floor. They went upstairs. The person cleanly and quietly unalived the first victim.
See, I don't see why he would say unalive. I'm not 100% sure, but I will say this. I think he sounded like possibly the guy that called it in T-Rev show, but from what I'm understanding, they've debunked that. From what I'm hearing, now I haven't seen it myself, but the TikToker I think is 100% debunked because he has posted since and after Bryan's arrest. So I do not believe the TikToker at all was Bryan. And if all reports are true, then either was the guy that called in the T-Rev show. However, I gotta admit, all of those voices sounded a lot alike. I'm just being, I just wanted you to hear the comparison. So I'll leave that one up to you. Was he calling in the podcast and shit like that? But I want you to see this, because right now what we're about to do is this Twitter user, NYB, I don't know what the fuck it is, but she got good shit. Anyway, so these are the Papa Roger. Bryan Kohberger is Papa Roger. She believes that these are Papa Rogers. These are Bryan Kohberger's shit. And so I figured, why not take a look at them? Let's go ahead. Let me blow this up a little bit. Is it blown up? Okay. Here we go. So what we see here is this is in the discussion book, University of Idaho murders. Papa Roger is, I guess, the poster here. I don't know if it says if he's mod or what. Anyway, so Jillian Millsap says we don't know if he was actually after the 4 people. Papa Roger comes on to say Ethan didn't live there, so that could be a variable. Jillian says Kaylee came back for the night. Papa Roger says, but had recently lived there. Jillian Millsap says yes, but wasn't supposed to be there. It's valid. So these are just posts. You take them how you want to take them. Right here, Papa Roger put an image that showed kind of a layout. Matt Treese said, Papa Roger, this is helpful, thanks. Could be hall, window on the 3rd floor, or living room, or 2nd floor. This is just random posts. Right here, Jenna, I'll just say Jenna, she says, how long do you think? Papa Roger came in and he said 15 minutes. And guys, this was way back, weeks ago. He said 15 minutes. Now, I will give that some credit, because think about it. If it was 4 to 4:20, that kind of makes some sense, right? I still don't necessarily buy this, so I'll leave that up to you guys. Jenna says, I was thinking longer, but now I would agree 15 to 20. They did get the time right. Kevin says, Papa Roger probably about right. Jim says, Papa Roger would know since he was there, says Jim. They called him out, but that was recently. That wasn't weeks ago. Kevin, that same time, said it would be interesting to see if this really was his page. So you'll see some new shit. Here, Dustin Stubberfield said, fixed blade means that it is not a folding knife. The way I'm guessing they could tell was by the impressions or bruising around the stab wounds that showed the outline of the guard and the knife. And he ended up looking stupid. Papa Roger, way back then, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, 4 weeks ago, he says, you wouldn't be able to tell that at a crime scene. And then, of course, Dustin said he disagreed. Now, this is 4 weeks ago. He said you couldn't be able to tell. So he sounds like he has knowledge, right? So let me go ahead and bring this up. This is continuing of the conversation. Papa says they don't clean bodies at a crime scene. The amount of blood must have been tremendous. And now that we have seen the mattresses, which we'll talk about tonight on tonight's show, that looks like it. I think it's safe to say there was going to be a lot of blood. Dustin said, due to the number of victims and assuming each victim was stabbed multiple times, I'm sure there was visible evidence of a guard. For all we know, the investigators are on the scene. What does it say? A couple stab wounds, wiped a couple stab wounds clean to look for bruising. I don't see why they would do that. I think it's far more logical than finding a sheath. Sheaths are usually attached to a belt. Papa Roger said, but this one, he says, but they were pretty specific about the knife used. So Papa Roger, for all this time, for weeks and weeks, has been claiming that it was a sheath that was left behind. Now, I admit that's interesting. Wanted to know why the fuck, how would he know? Dustin then came back, who said, who knows? Finding a left behind sheath seems like a stretch, though. Obviously, Dustin was wrong. Papa Roger says, why? They are very specific about the weapon, but very vague about every other detail. It's a valid point. Dustin came back and said, I think it's more likely they did closer examination on the wounds or on scene than you think. They can analyze the depth of the wound, blah, blah, blah. So Dustin was fighting back. Papa Roger then came back and says they're looking for a very specific knife. He says, curious, why are you debating the sheath theory so hard? Dustin said, because who would carry a sheath? Dustin said, who would carry a large exposed knife? Papa Roger did, and he's right. That's a valid point. Sheaths are meant for belts, said Dustin. So we're going to continue. Dustin goes on to say, I would guess that he carried it in his hand from wherever it came from. A knife in a sheath would cause him problems. And I mentioned this in my last video. Papa Roger said, which hand? Dustin said, I don't freaking know. Why would you even ask that? Papa Roger then said, so a knife-wielding person walked from where? And entered the house at what point with a large knife in hand? So these are just some of his things. These more than likely are just people like you and I having a discussion. None of this is probably, anything. Dustin goes on to say, someone who is about ready to commit a premeditated murder. If you were sneaking into someone's house looking to kill them with a knife, would you have the knife in a sheath when you entered? And I agree with that, actually. I think the killer had it in his hand as he was entering, just in case he was confronted and forced to fight. That's the exact point I made in my 10 questions video. And Papa Roger came in and said, how did the killer hold the knife prior to entering the scene, in your opinion? He just asked, Dustin said, how in the hell would I know that? I'm sorry that nobody is buying the sheath theory of yours. They argued for a while. This is a month ago about sheaths. Dustin says, if we find out one day I'm wrong, I'll gladly eat crow. Well, he said, Papa Roger says, do you carry a knife? Dustin said, give it a rest. You sound like a psycho. Now, clearly, Papa Roger was defending the whole sheath idea a month ago. A month ago. That's insane, right? Now, Lance here says, you think the assailant has left the area? Papa Roger says likely. Now, that's, I think we found out that to be true. But anyway, these posts are from Papa Roger. He says, I believe the killers came from the high side of the house. They were covered in blood after the attack. Of the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. That leads me to believe they found the sheath. This is on November 30th. The evidence was released prior to the autopsies. So this guy has been saying this for a long time. He either was spot on, or you guys may be right. Papa Roger here said, in your opinion, did the killer shower after the crime? He's just asking random questions. Now, if you remember the questionnaire, you see what he's doing? He's trying to ask questions. Now, granted, this could be just a mod. This could be just a poster. But you have to ask yourself, it seems kind of like the questionnaire, right? Like, it seems like he's enjoying this process. Now, I'm not blaming Papa, whatever the fuck. I'm just saying, now, this is the shit that makes me think it's possible. The questions. So why do we think the dog was spared? One knife, 4 people. The killer took a big risk. The knife could have easily broken off or become ineffective after 1 or 2 murders. Are we sure there was only one knife involved, he said? It's crazy, right? And then here, Papa Roger says random is the wrong word. He says random is the wrong word. Joe came in and says, what would you suggest then, Papa? Papa says planned. Joe says, still a possibility. You could be absolutely right, or I could be the one that's right. Who knows? Continuing on. Hold on. Are we back to the beginning? Yeah, we're kind of back to another one, a copy. So now we're going to move on to part 5. She's got 6 of these. She's got 6, and I want to show them all to you. So anyway, here, it says, we don't know. I think they walked home, then went to a car. I really don't know. Just speculating. I believe the killer lived alone. Just speculating. Papa Roger then came out and he said, I think the killer lived alone. He didn't say I think. He said the killer lived alone. Another person said, we don't know that for sure, but I believe it. Agree. Sharon says, what prompts you to think that? We, the public, know nothing about this individual. Papa Roger comes back and says, a psychopath stays away from longer relationships. They could be someone who struggled with female relationships, incel theory, but also doesn't like many people enough to avoid getting close to people. They would not tolerate a roommate. Papa Roger here says, do we think, this is on December 11th, do we think killer took anything from the house? Jenna says, do you? Papa Roger says, I do. So I'm interested to know if Papa Roger may have taken one. Now check this out. You know, so here, Papa Roger, he pushes away the white car theory. He says, breaking news, a white car is driving somewhere in the Americas. So right now he's trying to push that idea away from that. Now I want you to see this right here. He says they typically held Thursday night parties. Rarely did they have Saturday night parties. How the fuck did you know that? How the fuck did you know what night of the week these motherfuckers partied in? And as you can see here, December 11th, it says, why was the knife the weapon of choice? People said, Papa, he was the killer. Right here, Papa Roger says, I know this won't be popular, but this is where I think the victims were found. And he was posting screenshots of the floors. To me, this could possibly just be a dude theorizing, just like me. Just like me. But he's continuously asking questions. Is the killer still in Moscow, Idaho right now? This is a little odd, right? Multiple questions per day on this, to be on this entire, multiple questions per day on this forum, right? So let's take a look at this. Why on earth would police state otherwise it was truly a sexually motivated crime? This was an in and out murder. Papa Roger says police never have stated a motive. And then other people are saying, why are you accusing them of lying? Papa Roger says, what is the motive then? People are still saying, I have no idea. Why do you think it's sexual in nature? And Papa Roger says, motive. And then down here he says, I don't believe there's another motive. So, like, these are some of the posts that Papa Roger, who everybody anticipates or believes is possibly the guy, those are some of the things. Those are some of the messages that he had. Now, me personally, my position is, I'm not 100% sure. I believe the mod on Reddit said the inside looking was not him. You know, the FBI, the former FBI agent is highly believing that some of these are him. I don't know, man. I don't know. My theory on this is, to me, if I was the killer, I would try to push people away from certain theories, like the white car or anything like that. And that's not what we're seeing here. I want to show you guys something that I debated whether I wanted to play or not, okay? Let's just go here. It says, okay, someone has posted this leak audio from the neighbor's doorbell camera that it mentioned in the affidavit. I cannot validate the authenticity of this video. However, I can hear Murphy start barking after the first break in audio. Then you can hear what we assume is confrontation and attack on Zayna and Ethan. If this is true, then it gives more doubt about Dylan. The scream at the end particularly sounds like he is in major distress. Now, I want to make this very clear before I play this. There has been so much fake shit. I don't know. I don't care. I don't believe this to be the case because really it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant, right? This audio isn't going to prove anything, even if it was the audio of Ethan and Zayna being killed, because we already know Zayna and Nathan, and Ethan was killed. But I'm going to play it for you because I like to give you guys everything I got. Breaking audio. Now the dog, you'll hear a dog. They said that was the dog. Hold on. Shit, give me a second. Now I fucked it up. so listen. That says it's a female. Help him. Unintelligible. Now, I'm going to tell you now, I don't believe that it's necessarily anything. But I want you guys to hear it because I like to provide you with everything I find, right? I do want to ask you guys what you think about that, though. To me, it doesn't mean anything because it's sad if it's true. It's very, very sad if it's true. But I don't like when people pass off fake audio as real. So I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion, it's fake audio. I don't believe any of these leaks. I haven't. Joseph Morris, he came out with fake audio. I don't believe any of these leaks. I believe the police camera when I saw the body camera when I heard the scream, right? I believe that. But that wasn't accurate because that was at 3:17 and that police body cam footage, and we now know that the killings that happened after 4 a.m. So guys, let me know what you think about this. Do you believe he was online? Do you believe he was doing all of this? Do you believe he was following this case? I believe he was following the case. Do you believe it was even him? But I don't believe any of this proves anything. I think the Reddit was debunked. By the way, I think that audio is wrong. The TikTok, his TikTok videos or whatever it was, that was debunked. I believe there's rumors that him calling in the Rev show was debunked. My personal gut feeling is that none of these cases, none of these things were him. But you guys asked me to cover it, so I covered it for you. With that being said, if you like what I do here and you find value in it, feel free to hit the links down below. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos today. We got another one coming. We got an interesting coming soon. An interesting one coming soon. We will be live tonight at 6 p.m., I believe. I love you guys. I'm going to get up out of here. Peace out.